today a little bit about what our summer intensive is, what it entails, and just some general information overall about what it is to attend here at Nashville Ballet. Some of you may be nervous about some things, or you may have some questions, or you may just generally want some information about what it is that our summer intensive can do for you. And today we're going to do our best. In West Nashville. It's a safe area with lots of trees, and you hardly even know that we have such a large, welcoming facility that is there. The overall The Martin Center itself here at Nashville Ballet is a brand new facility. We opened it about 4 years ago. It is located again in the heart of Sylvan Park, which is right
Right, so I'll talk a little bit about the placements that we have here at Nashville Valley for our summer intensive and what you can expect to see. Three different advanced levels and a pre-pro level. And here at Nashville Ballet, all of our levels that we have are based on our syllabus here for Nashville Ballet and the curriculum, class building, and syllabus that we use in our academy. So when we think about the intermediate level that is placed in, this is very much the foundation level for dancers that are in our academy and coming to us for the first time or needs to be building their technique and their training towards a professional career. This is very much with the guidance of our Nashville Ballet faculty, and this is basically the foundation for mastering what we're looking for in our pre-point, some newer classes such as character endo partnering, and how we pull this together to start to create artistry as a young dancer. From there we have three different advanced levels. And in these levels we are really focusing on the foundation of what the technique looks like, as well as how we start to build artistry. So again, you're working closely with Nashville Ballet faculty. You get to work with the guest instructors that we have, and sometimes with ballet masters. We also have this connected in looking at how we can create performance opportunities that further this technical training as well as artistry. And then our final level is what we call pre-pro. And this is those focused on the highest level of training with the company focus in their future. So these are kind of the last steps that we're looking for that training as we start to become artists, whether it is in that direct line coming to Nashville Ballet in the company or companies that are similar to the size, the quantity, and the type of dancer that we're looking for and the variety of rep that we have here and beyond. And so this is that last focus and really honing in. A lot of times you will see our highest level dancers here from MB2 and some possible trainee dancers that are in this level.
Yes, in addition to that pre-professional session, sometimes that's where we see our company dancers. I've just been told that we actually don't have our slides working currently, so I want to make sure that during the course of this, if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, don't hesitate to use the questions during the course of this, or double check on our website for the summer intensive page. We have an info that has all of this listed, and you will be sure to be able to keep up with us. But again, if we go too fast or if we were referencing a slide, just go ahead and ask the question and we'll make sure that we take the time to answer it at the end. During the course of the time that we have spent here at Nashville Ballet, I have been here for 3 years, over 3 years, and Kate has been here for 2. To see how this summer intensive really has yielded positive results for students. And one of the things that I want to comment on, and again, if I had a slide, I think it'd be a little bit more interesting, but one of the quotes that we actually had here was from one of our students who's been here for 2 years. It was intense, and that's how I liked it. They pushed us to our limits, and I feel like I got better with my dance training just because of its intensity. And I think that quote, because we want summer intensive to be intense. We want it to be a challenge, we want it to be a test, and we want our students to feel as though when they come to join us, not only are they being pushed as artists and dancers, but also as technicians, as well as being surrounded by those who feel the exact same way as them. We hope that you feel that way too when you join us. One of the other things that you can see, again, as I mentioned, was the company dancers that are in the space. Those company dancers, when they share the studio with you, understand exactly what it is that you've been through. And actually all of our faculty sort of gets that. Most of our faculty, in fact, has been professional dancers around the country, not just here at Nashville Ballet. And I'd say that we've all shared in that experience of summer intensive and had that sort of stress, that moment of wonder, that moment of question, and sort of worrying about what everybody else is thinking. But I like to think that Nashville Ballet has more of a community and more of a home sense to it, especially
accessibility.
Absolutely, and I think that that's one of the things that really sets us apart. And when we get to talking about our faculty, I want to go ahead and run down the guest faculty that we have, if that's okay with you. The first one that we are bringing in is a good friend of mine and is somebody that has been around this business for a long time. He started at Sacramento Ballet and then went on to join Ballet X and has actually choreographed a piece on MB2. His name's Robert Colby Damon, and Colby is a fantastic individual who will be taking some time to work on some technical elements in the studio and technique class, but also working to combine that into some contemporary work, and we're really excited to see what he has to do. Another guest that we have with us is Jared Reddick, who many of you may be familiar with. He is the Assistant Dean at the University of North Carolina School of the Arts. He's a former dancer at Boston Ballet and has really done a lot for our students. He even actually came in and coached for Swan Lake with the company, so he really knows what Nashville Ballet is about. He knows what the company is about. He knows what our summer intensive is about, and he knows what our students are trying to do and where they're trying to go because he's been there. Would you like to talk about Ania for just a second?
Sure. Ania is the director of Metropolitan Ballet Theater, and she comes to us and has performed for Joffrey for Atlanta and was a prima ballerina. And she offers such a honed-in experience of that technical and artistry and that training that we like to see here at the Nashville Ballet. We have her students that have danced for us in our second company and in our company. The best part, and the thing that I noticed that the students come back from with working with Ania, is that feeling a sense of ownership of their own technique, their ownership of the craft, and how they can approach their bodies in the space and what they are capable of doing. And then it really makes them feel like almost that after they've worked with her, that they feel set apart. They feel that they have pride in what they're doing and how they craft their technique and who they are in this space as a dancer. And I think that's a really unique gift to get from a faculty member, is not only to have that really strong guidance in that technical training and the work that she knows as a teacher, but also from her performance career to share with her students, but also feeling like you can take that and run with that and refer back to that as you go to your school or stay in training with us. And she's a wonderful asset and a good friend and co-worker to have in that respect in the studio.
Yeah, I think one of the things that was most interesting for me last summer is when we all sat together and we got to listen to Ania's stories about when she was a young girl and watching her grow up and become a part of a professional ballet company. And I think that's another great thing to reference when we talk about this with our guest artists, is the students have the opportunity to access people who have had these careers and can really go ahead and bring to the table in conversation what it takes to get there, but also to talk a little bit about the fact that it's not one straight line. That sometimes we have challenges and things that we need to address, and that can be sometimes overwhelming and sometimes scary for students, but I think it's it's very inspiring, at least it was for me during the course of that conversation, to know that I wasn't the only one that had struggled just a little bit, and to hear some level of honesty from the faculty.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful thing to talk about as well. When we look at the guest faculty that we have, and included with the ballet masters and the faculty that we have here, one of the things that I love, that I have a lot of pride in being a part of Nashville Ballet and the summer intensive specifically, is how we can have those conversations, as to how we sit down with the students and have an open dialogue about the reality of what it is to be a professional dancer. And also to be looking at the fact that as we are going through this rigorous training, as we are dancing all of these hours a day and spending this time together in this community, that is exactly what we're building. We're building a community of artists together, as well as that training, and so you can use the guest faculty and faculty as an asset to you in that during the program or throughout the year should you need it.
And I think you touched on something that's really important there, and as part of the overall philosophy of Nashville Ballet, and it's something that we should talk about just for a minute, which is that here at Nashville Ballet, we don't just focus on whether or not we're going to build a professional dancer, so that sometimes that summer intensive can feel like, well, am I going on the right trajectory? Am I going to be a professional dancer? But also to engage as a full human, and to have that conversation as a vulnerable human being, and to be exposed and to really explore what it means to be an artist, but also at the same time, is this the right solution for me as I look forward? Is this the right place for me in the ballet world? And most likely, if you're at a summer intensive, it is. But how do you go ahead and continue on that track? And we're always available, our faculty and our staff, to answer those questions as honestly and openly as we possibly can. To go forward a little bit with the guest faculty, I think some people are very curious to know what sort of access they'll have to Nashville Ballet faculty. And one of those, of course, is our artistic director, Paul Vasterling. He has joined us every summer and will continue to do so. He will be there for a couple of weeks in June for sure, and then we might even get him for a week in July. He's out exploring different ideas and concepts and for his brand new work, and so he's going to be doing some choreographic workshopping during the course of that. In addition to Mr. Vasterling, you'll have access to our entire artistic staff. That includes our 3 ballet masters and myself. I think it's very exciting to have our ballet masters there. They can go ahead and show what they're looking for from a company standpoint. But again, they know what our students are, what they want their students to look like there, so that they can become company dancers. And I think that is a really great experience for the summer intensive people. Would you agree?
I would. And I think one of the people that we haven't talked about is the fact that you will get to work with Nic Mulliken, who is the Associate Artistic Director here at Nashville Ballet. And I just want to touch on, some of the history that we have here from these people that we bring in. When you look at teachers coming in from Boston Ballet, from Atlanta Ballet, coming in from Ballet West in different places. Nic has a similar resume of coming in from Houston and Ballet West. And it's a great connection when we think about how we look at working with Paul Vasterling as the director of the company, as the ballet masters, and then working with Nic. You have a direct line to what it is that we're looking for here at Nashville Ballet. And this connections that you have also goes from what the company looks for to what the school looks for. And that is really a focus in Second Company, our PTD program, as well as the academy. So when you're working with Nic and myself, it's that vision that we have, and we put that in place by allowing us to come and teach and really work with you so that you can feel like you're getting the right syllabus, you're getting the technical training, but it's coming from that that artistic side that we'd like to see here.
And on that note, I shouldn't let the person on my left sell herself short. Ms. Lindsley has danced with Kansas City Ballet along with Ballet West and has been a senior soloist. And if you look back a couple of years, you can even see her featured on the cover of Dance Magazine. She is a special treat for us. And she is actually somebody who works very closely with me on creating that through line. One of the things that I really like about Ms. Lindsley is her versatility, the ability to teach in the academy, but also to work with our professional training division students closely, coaching them, really trying to turn them into not just young technicians, but beautiful artists, along with ballet mastering the Second Company, as well as teaching company class. So certainly helping to create that through line all the way. Some of our additional faculty that will be joining us is Tracy Julius, Kate Kostelnik, Nicole Koenig, and Shabazz Ujima, all of whom have been with us in the past for summer intensive and have helped to create and shape the experience that so many of our students have had, and have also gone on to have successful sort of careers and time in different summer intensives themselves going forward. I think it's really great to see the versatility that this group brings together, and to know that they are committed to watching this program, both the summer intensive and the school and overall Nashville Ballet grow. And it is an infectious sort of passion and personality, and I think for each one of our students who are interested in what that faculty can bring, you can take a look at all of their bios. Everything is available again on the website. Not trying to skip over it or drive you to that. It's just the length of experience is so long that we would actually spend all of our time talking about it. I want to make a transition. It's not exactly seamless, but I want to talk about what it means outside of the studio. We've talked a lot about what it means to be dancing in the space, but what is it like when you leave here? Our students are transported to and from Belmont University for those electing to stay in the dormitories by school bus in the morning. We have a very safe sort of check-in, check-out process to ensure that each student is accounted for, both here when they leave the building and then again when they arrive at Belmont University. Belmont University is located, I want to say, about 2 miles away from the Nashville Ballet campus. Each student stays in the Horrell Hall dormitory. It is an entire dormitory dedicated to just Nashville Ballet students. They give it to us every summer. In addition to that, the men's and women's floors are separated, and we have male chaperones specifically for that, female chaperones for the female floors, and to ensure that all of that is specifically taken care of. The students enjoy activities during the weekends when they aren't exhausted and just plumb tuckered out from all of the dancing, where they're able to go to the water park like Nashville Shores, or they are able to attend swing dancing, I know is one of them. In the past, events have included going to the zoo, or also because Belmont is located in the lovely neighborhood of the Hillsborough Village, students have spent some time there shopping, getting some food, and having just, I think, a pretty good time. There are very specific rules as far as what the age at which students can leave the dorm, whether it is 18 and up for an unsupervised but checked out situation, or to be traveling in groups with chaperones overseeing them. Nashville's a safe place, but we want to ensure that all of our students are well taken care of and well looked after, and each one of those things has a level of accountability that I think as a parent should make you feel pretty good.
Right, and I would just like to add, because we are missing the slide specifically, that the Belmont University campus is beautiful, and it's very clean, and it's very safe, and it's kind of set apart from the city in that sense that it feels like an inclusive and safe space. And so I think we have some pictures of that on our website. Obviously, you can see that if you look up the campus there for Belmont University, but it is a lovely space, and so I think the kids enjoy that and feel very safe, and kind of a nice place for them to go and rest, and also to create a community there.
And while students are... I believe we're working to get you the slide right now. I apologize for the interruption in my voice. Well, good. I think we've got the slideshow working for you. If you would have seen there the Belmont University, one of the things that we are very excited about this year, and it is a complete departure from what we've done in the past, is a catering situation that we've arranged at Belmont. In the past, I know that some students have had some concerns about the quality of meals, the food options, overall just, you know, we as a whole each have our own things that we need at the end of the day, especially as dancers and artists and athletes. And we have actually partnered with Belmont University to give students access to a world-class, brand new facility that is going to have a wide array of dining options, as well as a full seating area arranged for the students to be off to the side, away from any other students or interaction with them. But this will include a salad bar specifically, or a different sort of meat carving station. I know that they even had like a quesadilla station and all kinds of other things. So there's a lot of very fancy food options that are available for students, including vegan, including any sort of like gluten-free, thank you, opportunities and options for students. There's a lot there, and we're really excited about this. It's one of the things that we actually put at the top of our list to fix from last year, is because we really wanted to ensure that our students had a good dining experience and were able to share in that experience at the Belmont University dorms. Students who are opting into our meal plans will also receive lunch catered here. Those lunch options go ahead and are served 5 days a week, sometimes 6, depending on whether or not a student is purchased for the Saturday. And those are brought in-house. The students are able to take advantage of the lunch break here. For those students who opt not to do the meal plan, you can actually still buy the lunch here so that you don't have to bring it in. If you choose to bring in your own lunch, that's absolutely fine. We also have refrigerators and plenty of storage space, so it is not really a huge issue. I touched briefly on it, talking about the chaperones and the oversight with our students at the dorms. Our chaperones are trained ahead of time. They are given the opportunity to work within our facility and also to meet our staff and to also get acquainted with the Belmont Universities. They're hired full-time, they're interviewed, they're trained in CPR. They are each required to have experience with leadership and or working with youth and young adults ages 11 to 22 or in other relevant fields such as education, social work, nonprofit programs, psychology, dance, and or other similar fields. Chaperones are present at all off-campus events, including the zoo, the water park, or even going to the grocery store. Chaperones do ride on the bus with the students, again, to ensure that their safety is there. We spent a lot of time working on and crafting and honing our chaperone training program to ensure the safety of our students, which is paramount. More than anything else, I think we can say that sending your student to Nashville Ballet will be one where you have the opportunity to feel safe. And if you do, in fact, ever have any questions, you can always reach out directly to our staff. Our summer programs coordinator is usually right there on call. She's been fantastic all the way through. And you may have even already communicated with her. Hopefully you find that she was also a really lovely individual. Let's talk a little bit about the daily schedule,
Yeah.
What do students do on a day-to-day basis when they're taking class with us?
Well, students dance on a day-to-day basis, and they dance quite a bit. So we have a format where we usually start our day, and it begins with a conditioning or yoga or Pilates, something that eases us in. And then we go to a technique class, and from there, after that hour and 45 minutes or 2-hour technique class, we go into a point class. Sometimes it's pre-point, depending upon what that level placement is. From there, that will also split out into a men's class, men's technique class. And then the options go depending upon the day within the schedule and where you are within the levels. You can have anything from pas de deux. You can go directly into a repertory class. You can go into variations, which we see those as two different things. One, sometimes you're working on something that's specific to Nashville Ballet. Sometimes you're working on something that the ballet master or the guest faculty brings in for you to do in that rep class, and then it kind of looks the same as variations, but we're working on the technical skills between the two of them, picking up choreography and performing choreography in those, and also some group and some corps de ballet aspects in that. From there, we also have musical theater. Sometimes we have jazz. We might have flamenco this year. We have all kinds of different things that add to the asset of who you are as a dancer, building that technical base. And then there's built-in rehearsal time. We'll probably talk about in a minute that we have performance opportunities built in. And so all of those come together so that we build in a performance for each of the levels that we have within the curriculum that we create.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to differentiate between what a variations class is that opportunity to really craft and hone something, maybe not specifically for performance, but to take what we've been learning in technique class and put it into practice during the course of the variations. Whereas during the course of our repertoire classes, where sometimes you learn Nashville Ballet rep, and sometimes it's full-on classical rep, and sometimes it's just a brand new creation actually from one of our faculty members, depending on how inspired they are. For many of you, you've asked a question in the past, and I want to make sure that we answer it in terms of what those performance opportunities are so that you're learning some rep and having the opportunity to put it on display. For students who are participating in sessions 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7, you will have a performance opportunity at the end of your session. What that means is that here at the Martin Center, we've got about a 200-seat theater where we're able to set up bleachers and chairs, and we are able to create a full-on opportunity for you to come out and demonstrate to your families, your friends, sometimes your grandparents, whomever else has felt like traveling, and we're able to accommodate in our space, what it is that you've learned and the rep that you've learned, and to sort of put that on display. For a couple of our other sessions, ones that end sort of midstream, that's session 1 and that's session 4, parents are still invited to come in and watch class, see what the student has learned during the course of that period of time, really enjoy and embrace sort of the environment that we're trying to create. One of the things that's sort of exciting this year, and it's brand new, it's not something we've ever done, is for students who are actually going to be here on July 17th. There's going to be a performance of the Nashville Ballet 2, performing at the Tennessee Performing Arts Center, which we have never done before. Students will be able to see rep that is being done and has been completed. by brand new second company artists. This will be their first show for those students who have just joined us in MB2, and also a great opportunity for our students to see a live show in Nashville, and also see the Tennessee Performing Arts Center. For those students who are doing the pre-professional session, your performance is actually separated out onto National Dance Day, which will be very exciting. That's why you have the extra day on that Saturday. You'll be performing at around noon on that Saturday, where typically during the course of our last couple of National Dance Days, we've had about 200 people from the general public here in Nashville attending, and we're really hoping that they'll be able to see you and the work that you've done so that we can have a large audience and you can feel super inspired by the end of your session as you either go home or decide to stay with us. To that end, I'd like to talk just a little bit about the other opportunities that our summer intensive can open up. Many of you already auditioned for our professional training division or our second company, have come to the class and have been invited. That doesn't mean that's the only opportunity to audition. Maybe we missed something when we were out on the road. Sometimes that happens, or you're interested after the fact. Please know that we do accept students into our professional training division during the course of the summer if you've expressed interest and it's brand new, or if you all of a sudden find that while you were here, you were looking for that training opportunity and you enjoyed our faculty and you enjoyed what we had to say and what we were doing. There's no pressure on that. If you elect to not do it, it doesn't change your summer intensive experience at all. I don't think we look at a student any differently from day to day, whether or not they're staying for the year or not.
Right. And I think what's important to note about that too is that, you know, I love to have a conversation with all students about their goals and what they're looking for within the summer intensive and for the year-round training. And so we talk to dancers about anything from being interested in our academy classes, which we have our academy up to level 7. And then within our PTD program, we have 3 different levels in there, PTD 1, 2, and then our trainee. And then we also have dancers that indicate they're interested in NB2. And please talk to us about this and let us know your interest in our year-round program. And also if you have, you know, let's say that you are completing another year of high school or that you're training at a school that you want to stay at for another year, we'd love to have that information so that we can keep in contact and communicate with you about future plans or future training through just getting to know you through the relationship of our summer intensive.
Yes, and we've even had students who've inquired if they could come during the course of the year for a week or something along those lines while they've been finishing up at their other school. And we love that. We love to have you come in and experience what it's like on a day-to-day basis and really get to know before you make a commitment. I think that's one of the most important things for us, is to ensure that a student feels comfortable about the decision they're making and feeling good about whether or not they're going to train somewhere, so that it's just not off there and I'm going to Nashville and who knows.
Yeah.
To that end, and one of the things that we'll talk about now during the year, we do offer education programs for students who want to continue their education outside of the studio. And that includes K through 12. We have an offering through Laurel Springs, which is a private school. It's done online. They work specifically with dancers and understand exactly what it is to keep up and maintain a dancer schedule. And it's a really great opportunity if you want to finish high school and then take a look at the PTD program. A lot of people have expressed interest in that, and I think that we have plenty of information available on our website, and I think there's a lot there for students who want to train all day long but don't want to forego finishing up their high school. To that end, for students who are also done with high school and are interested in the college opportunities that we can provide, we have a great partnership with Belmont University, not just in the dormitories, but actually as part of the education program. Students there that are enrolled in our professional training division or in our MB2 program are automatically given admission to the Belmont University College program, which is slightly different than Belmont University, but it is an evening class setup where students are able to take online classes or flexible scheduling, and then during the course of the year we actually have 2 on-site visits for advisors who are able to help the students guide them along the way through their education process. We've had students who have finished up their 4-year degrees in some very aggressively. We had one student that finished last year who I think finished in 3 years actually. She was an anomaly. But then we've had others, including our professional company dancers, who have taken several years to get it done, but are able to do it in an affordable way because there is also a tuition discount associated with that. To that end, I think we are in a spot where we would like to answer some questions if you guys have them. So please, by all means, feel free to float them out to us. The first question we have is, how many students are typically in a class? We try and keep our classroom size to about 25 to 30 in our much larger studios. And in our smaller studios, some of those smaller intermediate levels that require students to receive a little bit more hands-on, one-on-one training. We typically see between 15 and 20 students who are in those spaces. The classroom size is, I don't think, prohibitive, but actually provides students with that opportunity to be effective with the energy around them and to really grow as a result of it, and then to also see different students interacting with the material and grabbing onto it, and also applying corrections and being able to see your friend get a correction that maybe you need to work on as well. Would you find that to be true?
Yeah, and I think, you know, we obviously have larger class sizes in summer intensive than we have year round, because we're building those individual relationships with people as we have throughout the school year. So we try to have a little smaller size during our school year and our larger size of classes during our summer intensive. And just be mindful too, like we said, if you are in that pre-pro level, you'll have company dancers in there. And you have full of MB2 in there, so that class can get quite large, but that is just for that morning technique classes. We tend to allow other dancers to be in that class as well. But we hope to, you know, we kind of work when we set up the schedule is that you can develop a relationship. We work here during the year with what we call an allocated teacher system. And so you try to have a main teacher for each of the levels, and that's a little bit different in pre-pro, as we try to give you the spans of all the guest teachers that we have come in, and so you can get that relationship, that eclectic feel, as it were, if you're working with different people in a company. But as we go into lower levels, we establish that allocated teacher level, so you have a base person here at all times to talk to about any questions you may have or technical questions and things like that. So it kind of creates a system where you feel like you get to know the teachers quite well.
Do you feel comfortable tackling that next question?
Sure. So we had a question about uniform for summer intensive this year, and all the information is up specifically on our website, and we don't have many changes, and there's specific branding and all of that you should have, but we obviously have pink seamed tights for all of the female dancers. We have flat shoes, we have point shoes, and then we had for the lower levels a periwinkle color leotard, and then unfortunately the brand is no longer and that the brand is no longer being carried, so that we had to change the color to navy. So if you're a current student with us, we have that leotard, or you can get the navy one depending upon what the stock is in that. Then we also have, for our older levels, we have two colors of a leotard. So we'll have the black leotard, and then we're going to have a garnet colored leotard. For the black, we will offer a Nashville Ballet logo-specific leotard that we would like for you to purchase, but we also have the garnet that is not logo-specific, and then we have the black as well. So we have all of those different options, and then we have those logo-specific leotards available for you to purchase ahead of time through us or here when you arrive for SI.
And I do want to stress one little addition to what you had to say there, which is that students who are more comfortable in flesh-colored tights certainly are more than welcome to do that, and it is something that we fully support here, and we really want to ensure that you feel comfortable all the time while you are in our space.
Same with the point shoe colors as well, that should match the skin tone that's comfortable for you.
The next question we have is, do students ever move up and down in levels? I will say that this question is one that we get a lot. Students typically don't move down in levels. What we see here is typically students will move up if given the opportunity. We had a couple last year that we ended up moving up from advanced session, I think, to the pre-professional session. I think on very, very rare occasions we've had students that we needed to move down to refocus on some very specific technical things that really wasn't a detriment or comment on the student in any way, shape, or form, but really just about making sure that that student had the opportunity to grow in a fully safe sort of environment.
Right.
And I think that it is really up to the student each and every time that they come into the space as to whether or not they're going to move up or down.
There's much to consider in a student's placement as well. And we also understand that when we're dealing with this age group, I mean the vast span of ages that we have for summer intensive, there can be so much individual growth within the time that we see you in an audition and within the time that you guys come and dance with us for the summer intensive. So we want to be in tune for that. So if we did place conservatively, we always want to have opportunities for our dancers to grow. And so we take a look at that and see, and also within the summer intensive, we want to see, some dancers move very, very fast in 2 weeks. And so we want to have opportunities for that. But it's really important for us here that we look at training each dancer specifically and how their physical body and their artistry moves in space. So we want to make sure that we don't cut any corners in that training, that we really create the stance and the stability and the strength in who you are as a dancer, so that as you grow, you feel like there's so much power and that there's a lot of confidence in what you're doing as a dancer. And that comes from training at the right level, at the right time for your body, right? So you'll notice that we don't put people in levels just simply based on age. We very much have conversations with dancers about where they are physically able and what they're doing so that they get the best training possible.
I think that one's for you.
Okay, this is one specifically about a recommended TheraBand length. So I'm going to try to say this without having to do any demonstrations because that would be awkward. But if you are extending your leg in front of you, you want to make sure that you can wrap the TheraBand around your hands a time or two to make sure that if you're pulling that and you're doing any of those TheraBand specific exercises, this may be speaking to the pre-point class specifically, or any of those morning classes that we have if you need to use that for any of the conditioning or anything like that. So I would err on the size and also the strength of a TheraBand that you've been working with pretty consistently, so that you can bring that to us. And if you're starting with a green TheraBand, don't bring a gray and try to kill yourself the first week of SI. But make sure that that is proportionate to the length of your body, and then you should be just fine, so that you can have that stretch and that strengthening that you need from those exercises. Okay, number of Leos recommended. Here's the way I see this. Is that, making sure that if you like to have a couple leotards during the day, if you're going from something that you're wearing for class in the morning, and then maybe you have some partnering or some rep in the afternoon, based on how you feel, and it's Nashville in the summer and it's humid. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. But just feel comfortable. You have sinks there at Belmont. You could rinse them out, you can wash them when you need to do your laundry. All of those kind of decisions are up to you. So you feel comfortable and strong in your bodies, and then when you're in the community. So whatever amount of leotards you need to bring with you, but just go ahead and do that, or know that there's facilities that you can make sure to wash them and keep them clean.
And on that front, and I think it's something that I may have skipped over during the course of the Belmont dormitories, is I believe there's washing machines on site that you can pay for usage. So you can do laundry while you are there. In addition, the dormitories themselves are suite style rooms, which means that each student has an individual room with a door on it, but a shared kitchen, full kitchen that students can use with a refrigerator, a stove, and other things. And I know that during the course of our emails out for students who are enrolled, we have an entire list of things that students can bring and not bring for the dorms. And that is something that is definitely worth looking at. I actually find those dormitories to be nicer than my own apartment. So it's kind of an exciting opportunity for our students to share in that space and to have that opportunity to, well, cook at home if they absolutely want to, or to also make sure they can do laundry, so the number of meals can be reduced slightly, ideally. Also to make sure that you're taking care of your tights and also other proper hygiene elements of what is going on there. At this time, I'm not sure that we have any other questions, but in the event that you think of something after the fact, I want to encourage you to go ahead and send an email to summer@nashvilleballet.com. Our staff is literally there working to try and ensure that you have the answer to all your questions to make this decision, which is a large one, one that is much more simple for you. It is a very, very expensive proposition, we know that, and so when you have a question, make sure that our staff is able to answer it. If you feel like it didn't quite get answered, don't be afraid to rephrase it and to ask it again. If we've skipped over something, or if I've glossed over something that you want a little bit more information on, please know that everybody here would be very, very excited and happy to answer anything that you may need. On that final note, if you're a student who's still making up their mind and you wish that you had auditioned for Nashville Ballet, I want to reiterate that the video audition process is still open. We've just announced that we're going to extend it to March 29th. We actually have a great video with Mrs. Lindsay available on both our social media pages, both the school and Nashville Ballet page, where you can take a look at what it is that we're looking for, and you can actually hear some really amazing things and some, I would say, insider info on what it is that we look at when we are evaluating dancer videos. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, or if there's something we just didn't answer, please feel free to let us know. And also be aware that we will make sure that we have all of our slides and all the additional information available to you when we potentially archive this, or just available on our website for you to review and potentially in a follow-up email. I'm not exactly sure, but I do know that we'll make sure we get all of that information to you. I want to thank you for spending some time with us today, and yeah, we really hope to see you this summer. I think it's going to be a great one, and I'm really excited about the faculty and the staff that we've put together here at Nashville Ballet. Thanks so much.